Hey guys, I'm Katja, and I live in Cherni, Osam, in the Central Balkan. Have you ever heard the name Central Balkan National Park and Central Balkan Biosphere Reserve before? Did you know that there's a difference between a national park and a biosphere reserve?
This is the Cherni Osam Explainities, where you can learn all about the Central Balkan Biosphere Reserve in partnership with the Natural Science Museum Cherni Osam. Today's lesson will be about the difference between a national park and a biosphere reserve.
A national park, as you might already know, is an area of land which is protected by the government. National parks are often made to protect the ecosystem, biotopes, and present models of well-preserved nature. It is therefore connected to a lot of rules and restrictions for this area. For example, there are restrictions on where and how much berries one can pick.
A biosphere reserve is an area of land or water that is protected in order to support and conserve the ecosystems, as well as support the sustainability of humans' impact on the environment. They are learning places for sustainable development where humans and nature live together in balance to maintain the same opportunities and resources for future generations.
In comparison, a national park is an area where human activities are restricted to preserve the ecosystem and biodiversity within.
Whereas the Biosphere Reserve aims to establish a balanced coexistence between humans and nature. Here, in small areas, human activities are restricted while other bigger areas focus on sustainable development. Biosphere reserves also focus on research about ecosystems and the conservation of gathered resources in order to maintain a stable ecosystem which benefits humans and nature.
National parks make sure to protect biodiversity. They also differ in their economic goals. In a national park, there is restricted economic use with regulations, which among others enable tourism. For example, surrounding municipalities can use a permitted amount of water from the national park or let a certain amount of cattle graze in a specific area.
Whereas a biosphere reserve creates an area where sustainable tourism and other economic uses are permitted in a way that ensure ecosystem services and resources for the future. The municipalities within the reserve can decide together whether rules should be established. Additionally, biosphere reserves aim to protect the local culture, products, traditions, and economy.
National parks only protect the ecosystem and the wildlife. In conclusion, national parks are bordered areas where human activities are restricted to protect the ecosystem from human interference, except for limited tourism and controlled economic purposes.
Biosphere reserves limit human activity in certain core areas, but aim to create a sustainable coexistence where both humans and nature can thrive.
These are the overall differences between a national park and a biosphere reserve. But in reality, in the Central Balkan, the national park and two inner zones of the biosphere reserve occupy the same area. Thus, even though the rules of the biosphere reserve would be different and would allow different economic uses than those of the national park, the rules of the national park still apply as they are stricter. In the transitional outer zone of the biosphere reserve, no further restrictions for human activity are established. Surrounding municipalities live with the goal to create an economy that doesn't harm the nature, which is the area of the national park.
If you want to learn more specifically about the Central Balkan Biosphere Reserve, there is another video about it on our channel.